Imagine this, a golden summer afternoon in a small town where the loudest sound is the lazy creak of a porch swing. Children's laughter drifts through the air. Dogs bark in the distance. Life feels safe, until suddenly, it's not. By nightfall, Willow Creek would be in chaos. Two small children, Lilly, just 6 years old, and her 4-year-old brother, Jack, vanish without a trace. Search parties scour the woods, flyers cover every storefront. The town holds its breath. And quietly in the background, a name begins to surface. A teenager living just a few houses away. His name is Logan Carter, and some believe he may hold the key to what really happened that day. Over the next hour, we're going to dig deep through the timeline, the statements, the inconsistencies, and the rumors to uncover the unsettling connection between Logan and the Sullivan children's disappearance. Because in cases like this, the truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, and we have to be willing to listen. Before we begin, if you care about stories like this, stories that matter, stories that give a voice to the missing, we need your help. We're working hard to bring you the truth, case by case, lead by lead, and we're asking you to join us in that mission. Subscribe now and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Every single click helps us shine a light into the darkest corners, keep these stories alive, and maybe, just maybe, help bring answers to families still waiting for them. This is the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan and the shadow that might be hiding next door. In Willow Creek, routine is the rhythm of safety. Mornings start with the rattle of pickup trucks on gravel, the hum of porch fans, and the sight of children riding bikes in lazy circles. For the Sullivans, July 18th began like that. Ordinary, predictable, harmless. 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan is the child teachers talk about months later. Quick to help, quicker to laugh, hands always smudged with sidewalk chalk. Jack, 4, is smaller but louder, obsessed with toy cars and shiny stones he calls treasures. Their mother, Sarah, sorts laundry at the kitchen table, window cracked to listen for the kids. Their father, Michael, is on a job site 2 towns over, checking in by phone at lunch like he always does. At 2:40 p.m., Lilly and Jack are seen by a neighbor, Mrs. Dorothy Hensley, chalking hopscotch across the driveway. At 2:05, their golden retriever, Max, darts along the fence line, trailing the kids as they race leaf boats down the shallow rain gully that edges the property. At 2:20, Sarah calls the men for water and apple slices. They come. They always do. The afternoon heat sets in. At 3:05, a delivery van slows at the end of the road. The driver remembers a girl with pink shoelaces and a boy pushing a red toy car through the dust. At 3:18, wind shifts from the west. Chimes clatter. A screen door snaps shut somewhere down the street. Nothing about this moment warns anyone that it will be replayed, analyzed, and agonized over for months. Sarah folds a fresh stack of towels. She keeps the back door open. She can hear Max bark, then whine, then go quiet. At 3:40, she decides it's time for a snack and steps onto the porch. The yard is still. The chalk is half finished. The leaf boats are gone. The dog looks at her, ears pinned. She calls, "Lilly? Jack?" The only answer is the rattle of leaves at the edge of the woods. At 3:55 p.m., the 911 call, a voice no parent imagines having. Controlled because panic has no language that dispatchers can use. The questions are basic, brutal. When did you last see them? What were they wearing? Did they ever wander off before? Sarah says no. She says they were just here. Patrol units arrive within minutes. Officer Karen Mills takes point, marks the yard with yellow tape, and asks Sarah to sit. It feels wrong. As darkness tilts in, the search changes. Flashlights carve thin tunnels through the brush. The woods hold their breath. Somewhere, a volunteer swears they heard a child call back. They didn't. It was the wind. By 9 p.m., the first night settles into that terrible mix of exhaustion and resolve. The flyers are already printed. The porch light stays on. Working theories form and fracture. Did Lilly and Jack wander? Unlikely. They know the boundaries. Was there an opportunistic abduction? Possible, but rare and riskier on a dead-end road. Family involvement? Statistically common, personally unthinkable. The detective adds a fourth line on the whiteboard. Known non-family acquaintance. It doesn't point to anyone yet. It will. And then there are the small town truths. People notice who lingers, who helps, who asks the wrong kind of questions. On the first night, a teenage boy hangs back near the search line, eyes lifted to the trees like he's trying to read them. He's not a stranger here. He did yard work 2 doors down last week. He's been seen at the Sullivans' fence before. His name, written quietly at the bottom of a page in a detective's notebook, will not stay quiet for long. The first night ends with more questions than answers, but one detail is already clear. If the answers exist, they live somewhere between the yard, the fence, and the first 3 rows of pines behind the house, and someone in Willow Creek knows that landscape by heart. And that someone has a name, Logan Carter, 17. For the summer, he's staying with relatives on Maple Lane, a short walk from the Sullivans' place. He doesn't make much noise in town, odd jobs, gas station snacks, long walks with earbuds in. If you asked 3 neighbors to describe him, you'd get 3 different answers. Polite, standoffish, helpful if you catch him on a good day. He mows lawns. He tightens loose porch rails. He carries groceries for Mrs. Hensley when her knee aches. He's been seen at the park tossing a ball with younger kids. Not in a big brother way, more like someone killing time. In a town where everyone belongs to someone, Logan seems to belong mostly to the afternoon. In the week before the disappearance, Logan threads in and out of the Sullivan family's peripheral vision. Monday, he returns a wayward soccer ball over the fence. Wednesday, he's spotted kneeling by the ditch, tapping rocks into a neat line while Lilly and Jack float leaf boats downstream. Thursday, he lingers at the fence for nearly half an hour. The kids talk, the dog wags, nothing about it feels wrong until it does. Witness recollections sketch a thin outline. Mrs. Hensley remembers Logan's head tilted, listening, like he's genuinely interested in whatever Lilly is saying about her bike's handlebar tassels. Tommy Brooks, the handyman, remembers the dog, Max, recognizing Logan and settling, which says he's been around enough to be familiar. These are the kinds of details that don't become important until the timeline hardens. On July 18th, the day a convenience store clerk on the highway remembers Logan stopping by just after 1 o'clock, buying a bottled drink and a pack of gum. A driver on Willow Creek Road passes a lean teenager with a backpack at about 3:50 p.m., headed in the direction of the Sullivans' road. Neither witness calls it in at the time. Why would they? At 3:12 p.m., a neighbor watering tomatoes hears voices near the southeast fence line, children's brightness, and a deeper voice answering with short, easy replies. She's not sure it's Logan. But later, when the name surfaces, memory gains edges it didn't have before. The first official mention comes during canvassing. Officer Mills asks a simple question. Who's been around here lately that isn't always around here? 3 separate homes give the same answer. The Hensley boys' relative, the tall one, Logan. Not an accusation, not even a suspicion, just a name. But names have gravity in cases like this. When Detective Reynolds sits with Logan that first evening, the tone is calm, voluntary, conversational. He says he was walking the trail. The air inside the interrogation room felt heavy, almost stale, like it had absorbed years of secrets that no one wanted to speak out loud. A single buzzing light overhead cast shadows that seemed to lean in closer with every second. Logan Carter sat on one side of the metal table, his hands clasped tight, knuckles white. He wouldn't look straight at Detective Reynolds. Instead, his eyes darted from the corner of the table to the door, as if measuring just how quickly he could leave. Detective Reynolds didn't rush. He spoke in that low, deliberate tone of a man who already knows the answer and is just giving you the chance to tell the truth. You were seen near the Sullivan property on the 12th. Walk me through what you were doing there. Logan's reply came too quickly, like a rehearsed line. I was just walking. Didn't even talk to them. But the detective didn't blink. He opened a manila folder and one by one began laying down photographs. A bright red toy car, found in the woods. A partial shoe print, matching Logan's sneaker size. A blurry camera still of someone near the trailhead wearing a dark hoodie. Logan's breathing changed, and then his story changed too. Okay, maybe I did talk to Jack. He liked toy cars, I had one in my pocket, I gave it to him. That's all. I went home. But the truth is, his words didn't fit the clock. Phone records placed Logan's device near the wooded trail at 3:42 p.m., just 35 minutes before Sarah Sullivan's desperate call to 911. And after that, 2 hours of silence. No calls, no texts, not even a ping from a background app. Silence like that isn't normal. Silence like that is deliberate. In Willow Creek, a rumor doesn't just travel, it grows legs, it grows teeth, and it grows a voice louder than fact. Within days of Lilly and Jack disappearing, the town's quiet streets were echoing with one name, Logan Carter. Some swore they saw him near the old Miller Bridge that night, staring into the black water as if the answers were down there. Others claimed they'd heard raised voices in the woods, one of them unmistakably his. Teenagers whispered about something Logan had once said at a bonfire, that it would be easy for someone smart to disappear without leaving a trace in those same woods. Then came the words of Mrs. Dorothy Hensley, the Sullivans' longtime neighbor. Her voice trembled when she told reporters, "The day after, he was different, wouldn't look me in the eye, and his hands were shaking like he'd been standing in the cold, but it was 90 degrees out." Online, his face spread like wildfire. Yearbook photos, grainy cell phone shots, dissected in threads, captioned with accusations. People dug into his family, his friends, his past, and the more they talked, the more the lines between truth and speculation blurred. But Detective Reynolds knew better. Rumors can tip you off, but they don't close cases. And without hard proof, he couldn't hold Logan. Not yet. Still, deep down, the detective knew Logan wasn't just a witness. He wasn't just a name. He was woven into the story. And the only question left was, for nearly a week, Willow Creek felt like a town stuck between heartbeats. Every day began with hope and ended with unanswered questions. Leads were called in to the tip line, dozens of them. People thought they saw Lilly and Jack in gas stations, on buses, walking along country roads. But each sighting dissolved into nothing, like footprints washed away by rain. Then, one gray afternoon, something shifted. Detective Reynolds received a call from the owner of a small, old-fashioned gas station off County Road 14. The owner's voice was hesitant. "I don't know if this matters, but you might want to see this." Reynolds drove out there, the sky heavy with low clouds. Inside, the gas station smelled faintly of motor oil and dust. The owner, a wiry man with deep creases in his face, led him to the back office where a battered computer sat humming. He clicked through grainy security footage, static-line frames of customers filling up tanks and buying coffee. And then, there it was. 4:11 p.m., the day Lilly and Jack vanished. A lone figure walking past the edge of the parking lot, heading away from the woods. Shoulders hunched, hood pulled up. The image was low resolution, colors faded, but one thing stood out in almost painful clarity. A small, bright splash of red in the figure's right hand. It was the same toy car Jack was seen playing with in the Sullivans' yard just hours before. Detective Reynolds froze the frame. Even in the distortion of the video, the toy's outline was unmistakable. The figure matched Logan's build. Slim, about 5'8", moving with that same uneven gait the detective had noticed in earlier interviews. But here was the problem. Logan had sworn in his original statement that he left the Sullivan property around 3:15 p.m. and walked straight home. This footage put him in the opposite direction, away from his house, almost an hour later. Reynolds replayed it once, twice, 10 times. Each time, that red toy car seemed louder than the rest of the frame, like it was trying to shout its own story into the silence. When confronted with the footage, Logan didn't flinch. He didn't ask how they got it. He just leaned back in his chair, arms folded, and said, "If you think I did something, prove it."
In the days that followed, Logan was released. No charges, no answers. Just a ghost of a lead left to drift away. The barn was searched, the creek was dragged, the woods combed again, and still no sign of Lilly and Jack. The town's hoke began to fray. Posters in shop windows curled at the edges. Ribbons tied to porch railings faded in the sun. People stopped making eye contact when the children's names were mentioned, as if saying them out loud might break something fragile inside them. But here's what I keep asking myself, and I want to hear from you. Why was Logan in those woods that day? How did he know something he was too afraid to say? And most haunting of all, what did he mean when he said they didn't want to go? Do you believe Logan knows more than he's admitting? Do you think he's protecting someone or protecting himself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and sometimes a fresh perspective can uncover a detail everyone else has missed. Because somewhere, in that unspoken space between what Logan saw and what he fears, lies the truth. A truth that could bring 2 children home or confirm the darkest fears Willow Creek has carried since that summer afternoon. And while you're here, I need to ask you something else. Something important. Every time we dig into cases like this, we do it not just to tell a story, but to fight for the missing, to challenge the silence, to push for answers that too many people are willing to let go cold. If you believe, like I do, that Lilly and Jack's story still matters, that the truth is still out there, then help us keep going. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video. Your support isn't just a number, it's fuel that keeps us in the fight for the truth. We're committed to bringing you the real, unfiltered details the world needs to hear. And with your help, we can reach 1,000 subscribers. A milestone that will let us dig even deeper, travel further, and shine a light in places where the shadows have been winning for too long. So, what's your take on Logan? Innocent bystander or keeper of a terrible secret? Let me know below. And remember, as long as we keep asking the right questions, the silence will never win. I am Agent Tim, and we are not done yet.